Welcome back to What's the Big Idea? Rob, thank you for being here.
Oh man, gosh, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Hey,
thank you.
Look, it's not like I'm usually the one sitting in this chair anyway, but here we are.
But it looks good on you.
Well, thank you.
I think I really like your kind of got the fall thing going with your shirt, and the orange. Just really, I mean,
makes
like
it pop.
you're just a tree whose leaves are dying.
Yes.
Or, is that what they're doing?
I'm just trying to die to myself, Rob.
I don't know. That's what Scripture says. Jesus juked it right into it. There we go.
Boom. Welcome to ministry.
Yes.
So, speaking of Jesus juking, this has absolutely nothing to do with it. But the Big Idea podcast, Rob, what was the big idea, or what is the big idea?
So Matt was preaching Sunday, not here, out of town supposedly, and so we were just trying to make sure if any of us remembered the big idea from the service. And so the big idea from the service was a growing church requires growing leaders. I think maybe that's correct.
You can double check.
It's in the right ballpark. That's right. If we're wrong, feel free to comment. Send all of your comments to media@firstmoultrie.org. So yeah, we're looking at really some kind of familiar scripture, honestly, from because Matt mentioned it, and he waited to the very end, and we'll knock it around a little bit too. Kind of, we use these verses tied to our deacon ministry stuff a lot of times. And he did the balloon. You missed it?
I missed it, but I watched it.
So,
but I didn't miss it.
So if you have kids, probably watched Bluey before. And on Bluey, they have a game called Keepy Uppy. Have you ever heard of Keepy Uppy?
I've heard people talk about it.
So Keepy Uppy is the balloon game. You just try to keep the balloons in the air. And so that was Matt's lead in. Then the second service, if you were at the first service, you missed it because he didn't go that route to kick off the first service. But had JD kind of trying to keep the balloons in the air, and the more balloons you get, the tougher it gets. And so just a visual for kind of what we're talking about. So when we think about, or you think about kind of a healthy church, how does dividing responsibilities help, and maybe even more so be a pretty good demonstration of a church that's moving in a healthy direction at least?
Yeah, well, especially when you look at the size of a church too. If you've got a smaller church, then it makes it a little bit easier for one person. But when you look at a church, specifically one our size, I know Matt mentioned that it's hard for one person to focus on, hey, I'm going to focus on kids and then youth and then adults and senior adults and babies. And so you've got all these things that you're trying to focus on and manage and maintain along with the orphans and widows and the community. And so having that divided and split up allows more time to be focused in on those certain ministries. And I think about churches that have full-time kids. They have a full-time youth and kids pastor. And I couldn't imagine, I couldn't even imagine doing that. And so I think having it split up allows for us to focus in on it, but also it allows, I guess, almost expertise in that field. So this is something that someone is passionate about or someone's an expert in, then they can go into that field or that ministry and really spend time in it and grow it. But that's just my couple years of experience. You've had a little more experience in.
Yeah. So if we think about strictly from a ministerial standpoint, from a occupational ministerial standpoint, man, you can stretch yourself thin pretty quickly. And like you said, a lot of it depends on the size of the church, and some churches can financially support more official staff than others. But it can be very easy for ministerial staff to get stretched thin, trying to do more things than just time allows. And recognize, and we're very fortunate at the size of our church and our church's history of giving and supporting staff members is pretty good, and so we get an opportunity to kind of focus in on something, and also it recognizes the differences needed in somebody that's going to minister to kids, youth, senior adults, families. So who's going to teach the third grade class versus trying to teach a ninth grade class. versus trying to teach a young and married couples class. All of those, there are different things that each of those groups require, and so the ability to have staff members that can focus on those individual areas, I think it's a great opportunity that we have. And then even underneath that, when you start getting into the volunteers and you start getting into the people within the church, man, I got to thinking, I didn't even try to write it down. Like, how many people are involved? We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
How many people are involved from the time Sunday morning starts to the time that Sunday morning ends? 2 services and a connect group time. How many volunteers are required on an ideal day, recognizing people have to miss and things like that? But how many spots are there that are volunteers stepping in and serving in any variety of ways? I think about James Watson.
Yeah.
Because I had to run the soundboard for the early service, and I'm pretty low on that totem pole. I can get us through a service, but the difference in James and what he knows and how he can run sound, and even the next person on the list, is probably a pretty decent sized gap.
Yeah.
And so to have somebody like James who just takes it, I know how to do this, and I want to be and speaking as him, just wanting to be a part of making a Sunday service run. He does it for D-Now for us, which we've got coming up in a couple of months. And I reached out to him very quickly.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to be here? The bands love James. The bands that come love it because they don't have to. They can talk to somebody that speaks their language and knows exactly what they're talking about. But it's because James is willing to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a way that he serves, and it's one that doesn't stand out until something doesn't work just right.
Yes.
Or on a Sunday where he's not here and all of a sudden there's things muted all over the place and it's screeching and everybody turns around and I don't know.
Yeah.
So I do think a healthy church or a church that's moving in a healthy direction has folks just, man, that are just, they have a heart to serve and a desire for it to fit into that church's context.
Yeah.
And then of course, hopefully the desire also to take that out and to move forward.
Well, and even going back to volunteers, when you talk about dividing the ministry responsibilities in a healthy church, I think about having the volunteers step up. We've got, especially kids ministry, we've got a ton of volunteers. But then we have some people that help in 3 or 4 different kids areas.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, our goal is not to wear you thin,
right?
Right. Which means we need other people to step up and step in. And there's always a place available.
That's right.
For anyone in kids ministry. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone is made for kids ministry. And that
amen.
And that is okay. The longer I'm in kids ministry, the longer I'm in church ministry, the longer or the more I realize, like, hey, I don't care if you're serving in kids ministry or not. Selfishly, I would love that.
Right.
But at the same time, the goal is not for you to serve in kids ministry. It's for you to serve the church. And so making sure that you're plugging in somewhere, because there are so many aspects of the church that you can volunteer in.
Yeah.
A bunch of ministries, but also making sure that, hey, we're not running these volunteers thin, because, like, yes, they're calling us to serve and they're calling us to love the church and to be there for the kids and whatnot. But at the same time, it's having enough people to step in and serving in the multiple aspects that we have.
Yeah. This being able to rotate. I mean, you try to do that through kids worship on Sunday mornings, the nursery rotation that Karenina tries to build out.
Yep.
And even Connor's kind of hiding behind the background here, but like Connor heads up our production team of people that are running slides and cameras and kind of trying to make sure that we stream that it works sort of at best on some days, and that's a lot of teenagers. And so when we talk about volunteering, and using and ministry being divided, and kind of responsibilities being divided, kids and youth can be involved in this too, and should be. We want to create opportunities for kids in your ministry, students in mine, to be able to serve and to help. And it may not be a big thing, but for them it could be a big thing, and just a glimpse into what does it mean to serve the church. So
yeah, what does it mean? What is it like? I think being able to step in at a young age gives you that opportunity to transition smoothly once you get into that college or young adult, because if you start serving in 5th grade, 6th grade, and you continue to serve, and once you get into college, I mean, the natural thing is, where can I plug in?
Right.
And once you graduate college, if you move somewhere else, all right, well, where can I plug in here? And
that's
so
right.
if you start serving at a young age, it will be natural to just kind of continue to plug in somewhere.
It becomes what you view church as that.
Yes.
So it is a group of people that gather together, and there are kind of aspects to it that are not produced, but you got you got your service, and you got maybe music, and there's prayer, but you don't view it as merely that. You view it as, all right, we're gathering together. How can I serve the people that are gathering here?
Yeah.
And then how are we going to serve the people outside and beyond the service itself? So, and that's what we want. We want for our people that are here in our congregation, and we want for those that are here and then move on to somewhere else. The Lord takes them in a different direction, and outside of Moultrie, we want them to have, if they've attended church here, we want them to have been plugged in, so that when they go somewhere else, like, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a church that teaches the word, yes, that preaches Christ, yes, and that also has opportunities and encourages me to serve inside and outside. We want all three of those things to be true for sure.
Yeah. And as far as, I mean, when you go to a different church, when you do something different, you may see something different. And I know one thing Matt talked about was, like, if you see, he didn't specifically say if you see a need, fill it, but along those lines, hey, this is something that I have a heart for.
Right.
And being able to step into that and lead out in that, as opposed to just, hey, you should do this. And so, as far as ministers juggling between, like, being servant-hearted and delegating tasks to others, how can we be intentional to delegate certain things that people are passionate about, and not having it feel like it's beneath us?
So I'm going to start with a quote with no idea where it comes from. It's not it's not me, though. I do know that. Just the idea that if serving is beneath you, then leading is beyond you. And so if somebody's not willing to get in and serve, chances are their ability and their opportunities to lead aren't going to be long term, and aren't going to always be very successful. And so we don't want anything to be beneath any of our official staff members, right? If there's something that needs to be done, we want to try to help fill in however we can, whether it's from a very simple thing to a complex thing and everything else in between. And I think, and each of us, when we think about delegating, I don't know about you, I'll speak from my own personal, kind of my personal mentality is I struggle to delegate, honestly. Because I've always, for better or worse, kind of always taken them, well, if it's going to end up on me anyway, if it's something that is going to land at me down the road, I'd rather just try to figure out if I can take care of it. And at least I know it was either done well or not. I know if I screwed it up, and I can just bear the responsibility of it. And I feel like I'm more aware of everything that's going on. That's a terrible way to try to do ministry, especially when in our the church of our size. You can't do children's ministry
Correct.
all on your own. It's easier for me in some ways to do youth ministry with a smaller group of volunteers.
Yeah.
But I can't do it all by myself. And so I think part of the way, how do we be servant hearted, but also delegate, is to recognize when we delegate effectively, the ministry is going to flourish more so than us trying to do everything. So we are serving the congregation better sometimes by having other people, giving other people the opportunity to step in and to serve and to lead in areas, as opposed to us doing it. It may feel like we're serving less, but in a way we are serving better, I think.
Yeah.
And then how do we, let's serve those that are leading. So again, may not necessarily be serving the fuller congregation in a certain way or in a certain area, but are we serving the people that are leading? Are we equipping them?
Yeah.
Matt mentioned the Ephesians. Are we equipping them to do the ministry? Are we supporting them? Are we helping to disciple them? Are we encouraging them? And so sometimes ministry, the servant-hearted side of ministry, is very much hands-on a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. But in some ways, sometimes it becomes, all right, I'm not as involved on a day-to-day basis, or I'm not as involved on the small details. Somebody else is really passionate about it and they're running with it, but I'm involved with that person.
Yeah.
And trying to stay connected with them and supporting them and encouraging them the best way possible. But it can be hard, I think, sometimes to navigate doing it versus delegating it, and recognizing when is it beneficial to do whichever one it may be.
Yeah. If I didn't learn to delegate, and this is not me saying I'm good at delegating, I know I'm terrible at it. But if I didn't delegate, I would drown, and that's children's ministry.
Yes.
I can't teach babies through 5th grade Sunday school and Wednesday nights, and I love to get in there and teach. I think part of that is just I have a passion for teaching, but two, I think, like you mentioned, if I'm not able to get down in the nitty gritty of it, then how am I supposed to know what they're doing, what the volunteers are doing? Part of that is why I love teaching. Get to be with 5th graders on Wednesday nights, so I get to see that aspect. And then being with the 2nd graders on Sunday mornings and getting to see that. I don't spend as much time in preschool.
Yeah.
I get my preschool fix Monday through
Thursday.
Thursday.
You get it Monday through Thursday from
our weekday
from
preschool
8 to 2. You get some preschool.
Yeah. So I get to, but I'm spending time with it. I know a little bit of what it's like. Now, once again, this is not me saying that I'm perfect at it or I'm good at it. There's tons of areas to improve, but being able to step in with check-in and working on that and learning how that looks and what it looks like to greet people and to show people where to go. And that aspect of, hey, I'm in it. I know what you're doing. I know what it looks like. And then being able to say, okay, well, this is what we're doing. How can we do it better? And being able to say, I know what we're going through.
Yeah.
So now I can speak from experience and where we need to go. Now, once again, not saying I always do that well. I think one area specifically is just training the teachers.
Yeah.
And being able to prepare them. But that's part of the delegation is Matt talked about sending people out, laying hands on them. Obviously, before you send them out, there's a training that goes into it.
Yeah.
And doing a better job at that training aspect of it to then send them out. Because once you train and then send them out, you know what you're going to get.
Right.
Or at least for the most part.
Yeah.
Like they can lean into their expertise, their skills, talents, gifts, abilities. But the big picture is taken care of. This is where we're going. Now you get to go as a delegate.
Yeah. And I think part of it is our attitude towards the things too. Like there are things that in any job that you like less than others.
Yes.
And so even when we're delegating something that is something that's not our favorite and it's not our, like we don't need to delegate it to somebody with the attitude of, thank goodness you're going to do this because I can't stand this. I don't like this at all. And so we just from our viewpoint, from my viewpoint, is have a good attitude towards towards all those things, and demonstrate thankfulness to the people that are stepping in and helping them understand how valuable what they're doing is to the ministry in our church, to the sharing of the gospel amongst those that may gather here, and then even beyond, beyond the walls of First Baptist Church, and beyond Sunday morning and Wednesday night, because the ministry here is better because of the people who step in and serve, because of people who have come up and said, hey, this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We think there's a great opportunity. Let's figure out how to implement this ministry. Let's figure out how to have a church that is now called La Esperanza.
Yeah.
Kind of being on the front. We had a group of people on the very front end of that church that now is moving towards being its own entity, and sustaining itself, and a lot of it's because there were a group of people, some here and some probably not here at our church, that just said, hey, there's a need. How do we figure out how to support somebody, and let's get this thing going? And so it is we would drown.
Yes.
We wouldn't. There are way more than 4 balloons. I think that's what JD got to the other day. Or 3 or 4. Way more than that. Even amongst the full-time staff that we have here, there are way more balloons than we can keep up. And so, for those of you that serve and volunteer and are doing it now and have done it in the past, and those that will do it in the future, man, thank you very much for what you do.
I can never be thankful enough for the volunteers, because once again, all of this is especially for us, like, you're pouring into the next generation.
Yep.
You're setting these you're setting these kids up for what's next in life, and you're building the future church.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easy to forget that.
Yeah.
And you show up on a Sunday or a Wednesday, and the kids are screaming and hollering, and you go, all right, Lord, you've put me here.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it through the night.
Yes.
But that day in, day out, serving the kids, like, I know both of us, like, we're in the positions we are because Sunday school teachers and other people in the church poured into us, and
right.
and that's why we are where we are today. Yeah. But as we look, as we look at Matt talking and with us, there are people that serve and volunteer, but then there is a pastoral staff, and there are people that are focused on the, I guess, bigger church, if that makes sense. And so what is the difference between the call to ministry and the call to, like, general ministry?
Yeah.
So the day-to-day call versus the, I guess,
feeling called to a specific area or something. So one is the recognition, and Matt, we're all called to ministry. We're all called to minister. Priesthood of the saints is a phrase that you'll hear, and because each of us as believers, we all live in the wake of Matthew 28. We all live in the wake of the Great Commission, to go and to baptize and to disciple and to teach and to do that through all the nations. And so that's for each of us. We're all called to that. So we're all called to ministry. And if we view ministry as service in some capacity, then we're all called to serve. Scripture says we're to consider others greater than ourselves. We're to look to the needs that others may have. I was looking with one of our students. We were studying and looking at 1 John 3 this morning. It's basically saying, if part of this living out our faith, a demonstration of our maturation is if I've got if I've been blessed with things,
Yeah.
and I have a brother in need that may
Mhm.
need some of the things that I have or I have access to, then I should use those.
Yeah.
And so that's ministry.
Mhm.
It's not it's not church official with a title ministry.
Yes.
But that's ministry. We're all called to that. We're all called to love and serve in such a way that we point people to the cross, and we're all called to love and serve believers in such a way that we encourage them in their already walking with Christ. And
Mhm.
so, generally, each of us,
Yeah.
within that, there are things that we are passionate about.
Mhm.
There are things that we are gifted in. I know as part of the new member class or the prospective member class, I think they do a spiritual gifts. They get. I don't know if they fill it out here, if Brian gives it to them to fill out.
Mhm.
But there's a spiritual gifts kind of survey and questionnaire, and it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But it gives people an opportunity maybe to see, all right, what may be some things that the Lord really has gifted me in, and then how can I take this gifting
Mhm.
and the things that I'm passionate about
Mhm.
and put those things together from a ministry standpoint. So there can be a specific area.
Yeah.
We have people that love kids,
Yes.
uh, and that love, maybe even more specifically, love serving babies
Mhm.
and toddlers, which that is not me.
Yeah.
I have done it.
Yeah.
I've served in when our girls were
Mhm.
babies, especially. We served in there, and I've sat in the 1-year-old and the
Done your
2-year-old room. I
time.
was like, "Ooh, goodness gracious!" um, but there are people like, man, that hits them right
Mhm.
where they're at. Uh, there are people that love cooking, and I mean, I think of the group of guys that when we feed the football team
Mhm.
on a Friday morning once a year, or when we have some of these events that come and take place, you've got a group of people, they just love getting it together and cooking the food and putting it out and
Mhm.
serving. They're just passionate about that.
Yeah.
And so it's just a recognition we are all called to serve
Mhm.
and all called to ministry in a very general sense, but
Yeah.
also recognize there are probably specific areas for each of us
Mhm.
that that just there's something. It's
Yeah.
giftedness, it's passion,
Mhm.
and the Lord, He gives us these things for a reason.
Yeah.
So ministry's going. There's ministry
Mhm.
opportunities tied to those things. Otherwise, why would we have them?
Yeah. And I think too, sometimes as a church member, it's easy to just show up on Sundays and show up for big church. Because
Yeah,
I know, like, there was a time where I did that.
yeah. And even then, even there's sometimes I'm at church on Sunday and like, man, like my heart is really not like
Yeah.
it's not there.
Mhm.
There are times I've taught on Wednesdays
Yeah.
night in front of a group of students, and it's just like, golly, I don't. I'm doing it.
Yes.
I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
Uh, that happens for sure.
Yeah. I think showing up on, because like I said, before I came here, there was a time where I'd show up on Sundays and I'd get my morning fix and
Yeah.
I'd listen to the pastor, but um, wouldn't always get plugged in. And um, I had my excuses and whatnot. We all do.
Yep.
Um, but then knowing like, hey, I have a passion to serve kids, just having that passion. It's once the service is done, walking to the front and saying, hey, how can I serve? Or the Connect card,
Yeah.
looking at the back, and we don't have a list of all the areas that you can serve in.
Right.
But if we had a list of every area you can serve in, I mean,
Yeah.
we'd have a scroll a mile long.
Yeah.
I think it's taking that step and going, hey, I know I'm called to serve. I know I'm supposed to serve. But two, like, this is what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I love X, Y, and Z. What area of ministry do you have available for that?
Yeah.
And Matt mentioned maybe we don't have an area, which I would be shocked. But
Yeah.
if we don't, then hey, if God has pricked your heart and this is what you want to do, I mean, yeah, as a staff, we're here to support you
Yeah.
in that. And so I think a lot of it is just, if you're not currently serving, taking that step and
That's
saying,
right.
"Hey, the Lord has called me to this, and I love this."
Yeah.
And so being able to just say, I'm going to be willing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that's a big part of it is just, yeah, I have these gifts.
Yeah.
Let me use them.
Yeah. Um, as you were talking, one of the things I just got to thinking about from the connect card standpoint of somebody
Mhm.
saying, "Hey, I have this passion." I don't see where that necessarily lines up with something in our congregational
Mhm.
uh, perspective, but maybe there's something in our community.
Yeah.
You know, it we're serving the kingdom.
Yes.
You know, and yes, we want obviously within the church and we feel like we're called to serve one another and to
Mhm.
serve together, but that's not the limit of it. You may come in and say, I'm passionate about this, and we say, well, nothing really we may not have anything here, and we're not really sure what it would look like to try to start something, but there is this ministry in our community
Mhm.
that exists that has a passion to share the gospel through whatever need they may be meeting or through whatever passion that they may be putting together, and maybe that's the connection
Mhm.
that ends up really being made, and that they're serving the kingdom in our community,
Mhm.
which there are organizations within our community who want to share the gospel, who want to provide the hope of Christ, and they're doing it through meeting needs, and they're
Mhm.
doing it through various avenues, and maybe that's where your passion's at. Maybe
Mhm.
that's the pairing that needs to take place,
Yeah.
and it may be more. You may be more of the general service
Mhm.
in our church. You may step in and fill in holes because you see it and it needs to be filled.
Yeah.
Um, Not because it's your passion, but because I
Yeah.
just want to serve. And but your passion may be something that exists outside.
Mhm.
And chances are, if you have a passion that is hit inside the church, it's also outside, and you
Yep.
just find where it goes there.
Mhm.
Um, we don't want. You mentioned earlier, we don't want to burn people out.
Yep.
Some people, and you and I both probably know people, and we've probably at times maybe even abused this. We know people that we know that there are some people that will say yes,
Yes.
and there are times that we do call on folks because the need just gets there, and we have to
Yes.
feel, and we've got this yes sitting out there,
Yeah.
um, and so we call it in,
Mhm.
but we don't want to do that.
No.
We don't want to burn people out.
Mhm.
We don't want people consistently serving in an area that they're not necessarily passionate about,
Correct.
just because they will.
Mhm.
And so, so again, for those that are watching, and you may say, "Well, I don't know what it is."
Mhm.
Well, try something out,
Yeah.
and you may serve for a period in an area and realize,
Yeah.
this isn't my specific passion,
Yeah.
but you may have filled a need
Mhm.
and filled a hole that otherwise was just sitting there. And so be willing to do something that maybe you're unsure of.
Mhm.
Um, I think of uh, our partnership with Stringfellow. We're looking to try to send people uh, over there just to support the students and the teachers
Mhm.
through some reading stuff. And this year, for the first time in a couple years since we've been kind of doing this, is they're throwing math
Yeah.
into the equation, pun intended. And so, um, a lot of people are just like, I don't do math.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's
I'm
me.
like, well, you can probably do the math that they're doing. It may be weird how they're
Yeah.
doing it, and it is new math. Um, or somebody may say, I don't know how to teach. I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna have a kid read to me a little bit. I'm gonna maybe read to them a little bit.
Yeah.
I may try to help them with some math stuff and
Yeah.
figure and have an idea, but just being present
Mhm.
um, with this school that we love, and the staff and the faculty and the community at Stringfellow that we love, where we want to say, hey, we're here,
Mhm.
right? We're not experts in
Yeah.
education. Uh, we're not professionals.
Yeah.
We do have some retired educators that are active in
Yes.
this, but some of it's just people that say, hey, I've got time.
Mhm.
I've got some time and some availability. I'll go have a kid read with me for
Mhm.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
30 minutes once a week or whatever. And um and it's just a great way to minister
Mm-hmm.
to our neighboring school,
Mm-hmm.
because we are serving them,
Yeah.
not out of a sense of expertise necessarily, but just
Mm-hmm.
out of a sense of, hey, we see an opportunity, and let's just step in and do it. So um, there are a variety of areas inside our church and out in our community uh, that have spots to be filled,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just looking for the person that's willing to say yes. And again, it may not be for a long-term thing.
Yeah.
It may be for a season, but that season could be, who knows who's being prepared to step in when you're gone.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
don't be afraid to try something, and
Mm-hmm.
then and then to come to me and say, hey, I taught Sunday school for you for a year.
Yeah.
That's really not my thing.
Yes.
I'm fine. I'm
Yes.
fine with that. Thank you very much for doing
Mm-hmm.
that. Let's figure out if it's, what else is it, or is it just for now attending a class?
Yeah.
And being and building connections.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want somebody doing something that they don't want to do.
Correct.
For sure.
Correct. So a lot of ministry, 99.9% of ministry here is something you can step into.
Yes.
Yet there's that 0.01% that you're
Yeah.
called to. And that's our deacon ministry.
Yeah.
It's not something that you volunteer for, but something that is voted on.
Mm-hmm.
So as we look at our deacon ministry, how does this passage specifically relate to the church's deacon ministry?
Well, it is the scripture a lot of times that Matt will reference in and
Mhm.
around deacon election and at deacon ordination. This is kind of the first deacons of the church.
Yep.
And how it really points to our deacon ministry is maybe not the way our deacon ministry is always seen and understood. So, as an attender of this church when I was younger,
Mhm.
my assumption was that the deacons are in charge of everything and making all the decisions, and almost like a board of directors.
Yeah.
And there is some aspect of our deacons that they are a part of making some decisions, and they are a part of helping to cast a direction or an idea about things. But first and foremost, our deacon ministry is supposed to be service.
Mhm.
That's where this comes from in this particular set of scripture. A need was communicated
Mhm.
and not dismissed. Matt mentioned that. We have to be willing to if somebody calls us out on something,
Yeah.
we have to be willing to listen to them and recognize the truth of what they're saying.
Yes.
And so that's what these people aren't getting fed like they're supposed to be.
Mhm.
Well, they didn't dismiss that.
Yep.
And then they said, well, let's get a group to head this up.
Mhm.
Let's have a group of men, in this case, that are going to champion this cause.
Mhm.
And so the whole aspect of deacon ministry from a scriptural standpoint is born from a heart of service
Mhm.
to meet needs of, in this case, widows. And in our deacon ministry, we see that
Mhm.
in that we have widows and some of our senior adults in our church that kind of get. I'm going to use the word assigned. That's probably a terrible. I don't know. They get assigned a deacon
Mhm.
who we ask, hey, check in on these folks, and
Mhm.
how can you maybe serve them, or is there something is there a need that exists that the church and that
Mhm.
the staff and that the larger body needs to, hey, we have this opportunity. But it is, we've talked about it a much, this division of responsibilities.
Mhm.
I don't know what our official roster is
Yeah.
on our at church here. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And it would be in a lot of ways impossible for just the professionals. I think Matt used the word
Mhm.
professional in air quote Sunday. The professionals
He had us in mind when he air quoted.
He did. Yeah, specifically us. And so we can't check on everybody,
No.
and not effectively.
Yeah.
And so we call on our deacons to do that, to this to be a very specific
Mm-hmm.
and intentional way that we are asking them to serve our congregation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it stems from this in Acts. It was a very specific
Yep.
and intentional thing that was being asked of them to do, and they did more than that.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't stop it. Oh, all I'm going to do is help feed the widows,
Yeah.
and that's it. I'm sure they did more than that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a very specific thing that they do, and it's one of the specific things that we do ask our deacons to do is to participate in that, not just having meetings and not just talking about the budget, and not just talking about decisions that need to be made, but serve these families, serve these widows, and then what are the areas of service in our church do we need the deacons to be leading the service aspect of that?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and then when you look at that, the goal of it was to allow the apostles to teach more effectively.
Yeah.
It allows, so in our, I guess, church body, what it allows is it allows Matt and me and you to focus on our ministries more and to say, hey, like, yes, we love these people that our deacons are reaching out to and loving on, and even we'll check in on them some as well.
Yes.
But the goal is for us to teach and to prepare and to disciple. And so when our deacons go in and they do that, it makes Matt's job a little bit easier, but also it allows him to teach effectively, which means our greater congregation gets a healthier preacher.
Yeah.
And so I think also keeping that in mind when volunteers serve is as you serve, like, one, it allows us as ministers to excel in our job.
Yeah.
But also it allows you to pour into the next generation, to be a difference maker in someone else's lives. And I think that's what you see in Acts is you see a church come together and love and serve each other well and ultimately make a difference in the community and in the world.
Yeah.
So
it is it's amazing how effective ministry can be when people don't wait on somebody else to do something, and wait on somebody else to serve, and wait on somebody else to meet a need. We've got, as kind of closing out our discussion a little bit, and this isn't really, I don't know if this is related to any particular question, but I think the idea is we look at, I know of some of our connect groups, our adult connect groups in particular, that inside their connect groups, they will split and have little subgroups underneath it, where if somebody in your subgroup has a need, you're specifically going to reach out to them.
Yeah.
And then bring in the bigger group if need be, and then we'll bring in the church if need be. And when those small groups, Sunday school, connect group, D group, life group, whatever it is that it's called here, it's our connect groups. But we have the Bible studies. We have multiple Bible studies that meet during the week. Those are a small group. They may not all be from the same home church, but that's a small group of people gathered together. When ministry takes place in those things, needs are missed less often.
Yeah.
If it has to be done at the highest level of the church, it's super easy for those needs to be missed. And so I'm grateful for those. We do have some groups. I mean, they do an amazing job of serving each other, of reaching out to those outside of our church that they know that have needs, and they know that have things to be praying for, or needs that can be met. It's a great picture of what can happen when a group of people just said, "Hey, we're just going to try to care for each other really well."
Yeah.
And it allows, again, we can focus on the teaching aspect of things more, but it also can allow for us to, if there's a specific need that we can deal with, because we know other things are also being taken care of simultaneously. And if we need to be brought into the loop, we will. And if we need to be more specifically active and involved, we can be. But there are so many things that can be taken care of, that can be needs that can be met just as effectively without the professionals, the professional church folks being involved. We're not trying to skirt things away. We're not trying to ignore responsibilities, but we've got great people in our congregation, and they can serve with the best of them, take care and meet needs with the best of them,
beyond capable,
and let's empower them to do so, and equip and empower them to do so. So, anything else? Any other nuggets?
Only nuggets I'm good with is chicken nuggets. So
yeah.
But no, I do think this was a great sermon, and looking back and seeing the importance of the church as a whole, the importance of volunteering, and I feel like I never say thank you enough. And there are always more that I can do to say thank you. But our volunteers truly do make such a huge impact in this church. They're the ones that build the next generation. And we can guide and we can direct, but man, we need builders. And those people they're builders.
So for those of you that are serving in any aspect of ministry within our congregation, thank you. For those of you who are serving out in the community, thank you. And for those that are looking for a place, let us know, and we would love just to try to help you connect and have you walk with somebody else, maybe that's already been doing it for a while, and that you can learn and walk beside. So we will continue on. Matt, as far as I know, it's Matt preaching this Sunday. I don't think it's either one of us.
It's not. I hope not.
I think
hope it's not me.
And then I'm sure I anticipate he'll be back next week. Eric, this is the wisdom chair of wisdom that Eric's sitting in.
So Matt needs to come and reclaim it.
But thank you very much for those of you that watch, and we hope to see you back. Podcast next week, but see you back here for Wednesday night, Sunday morning, and all the other things that we got going on. Thanks.